What up? I'm just going to show you the best settings for FPS that I've found, and I'm going to show you the balance that I like to do for FPS and a little bit of graphically as well, because I like my game to look good. But if you don't have a best PC, then you probably just want to go for best FPS. And yeah, so let's just get right into it. For the game settings, I just do I don't turn automatic RAM cleaner on. I know a lot of people have it, but I don't. For me personally, this one can vary person to person, but I this only use physical cores option. I select that FOV 59. I'd recommend anywhere from like 58 to 70 or so. That's what I like personally, but just do whatever is best for you. Head bobbing, turn that shit all the way down. That is pretty bad. You'll notice that pretty quick if you have it on. And then we go over to the graphics tab. Make sure VSync is off. That if you turn it off, and I'll show you a little bit later, but if you turn VSync off and there's a setting under your Nvidia, it allows for uncapped frame rates as opposed to, I think, 144. Yeah, 144 is the cap if you have VSync on, but just turn VSync off and you can do that. Before I changed all my settings, I had, I'll show you a little bit better. My settings looked pretty much just like this, and I had a couple of these on too, I don't remember, but I was getting like anywhere from like 80 to 90 frames, I believe. And then once I changed all these settings, texture quality, if you want your game to look better, you can put it high, but for performance, I'm going to go medium. I wouldn't go low unless you really need the performance, but shadows quality is a low. I don't like shadows in like any game I play, but this one eats up quite a bit of your resources if you have it all the way up. Object LOD quality, it helps it look better, but for performance sake, I'm just going to put it all the way down. Overall visibility is at 1000. DLSS is only for certain cards, so if you have an RTX card, you can turn it on and go quality. I'm not sure why it won't let me do performance or ultra performance, but I found I get a better FPS at quality than I do balanced. I don't know why, but if you have the option to do that, I would put quality for DLSS. Ambient occlusion, HBAO is just ambient occlusion basically. I get best performance with it just turned off. It makes it look better, but again, for performance, I'm gonna turn it off. Turn this off as well. This is like reflections of what's in your character's view. So reflections off like windows and water and stuff like that. So just turn this off. It helps it look way better again, but I just turn it off for performance. Nvidia Reflex low latency. I turn it on plus boost personally. I gain more FPS that way, but it's up to the individual, of course. And this I also turn off. But sharpness, I like to keep it around at 1. If you go a little bit higher, it starts to look a little bit grainy. If you turn it low, it also starts to look a little grainy. So I just found the hotspot is like right about the 1 area. It won't let you edit your game FPS limit. That's because low latency is on. But it shouldn't really matter too much. All of these down here, I like to turn off because I just don't like the way any of them look. I'm not sure why grass shadows is on, but I like to turn that off too. Yeah, so we can head over to post FX now. This is just pretty much personal preference. This is my personal favorite that I've found so far. If you want to, you can copy that. If not, I know a lot of people play without post FX, so that might be your cup of tea as well. So, and I think the last thing that I have here is sound is just personal preference, obviously. But if you want to go into controls for newer players, the only things that I think I would change is the scope, like switching between sights and changing scope magnification. This one I have on mouse 3 and change scope magnification. I have on mouse 4 as the secondary. I'm not sure why I didn't just put it in the primary, but yeah, the default keybinds for this are pretty rough, and you can't really change scopes or magnification while you're ADSing. So I'd get those changed as one of the first two. Okay, yeah, the only other thing that I would change in this, I like to play on pretty much default binds except for these three that I showed you. Check ammo is where you pull out your mag and check how much you have and what ammo is the very one on top. Check ammo, that's T plus left alt. I don't currently have it bound, but I like to put that as M just so I can do it as I'm moving. Whereas if you do Alt T, if you're holding W and you press Alt at the same time, it'll do a little overhead fire or a blind fire overhead, and that can be really annoying sometimes, especially if you're running from point A to point B and you want to check your mag and you hold Alt plus T and you start doing a blind fire and it makes you stop running, and it's just a hassle. So I'd recommend getting that one changed as one of the early ones. But yeah, I can show you the frame rates that I was getting after I changed my settings to the best possible frame rate settings. So here you go. Alright, so basically the settings outside of Tarkov, if you just right click on your desktop and go to Nvidia control panel, it'll bring up this, and you want to head over to manage 3D settings, scroll down until you find vertical sync, and then if you double click it, it brings the drop down menu, and just make sure you turn that off, and that'll allow you to have unlimited frame rate. Also, another thing that I like to do is the thing that I like to do personally is I like to turn my digital vibrance up. It just looks better with Tarkov. I keep mine at like 80, but you can turn yours to whatever you want, and it just makes the colors pop a little bit more, and I just think it makes it look not so dull, because Tarkov's a pretty dark game. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys.
Look, my work will show if I sit back and I just let it blow. And all that weight I was pulling, I had to let it go. Dreaming bigger than I can handle, too much to hold. Break it down, I'm achieving all of my separate goals. Back of Ubers, I'm kicking classics, appointing shooters.